Hey, this is the Recklessly Skeptical podcast. My name is Joe.
This is Matt.
And I'm Josh.
You can find us on Spreaker at Recklessly Skeptical. Also YouTube, Recklessly Skeptical, and you can find our individual YouTube channels. That would be The Evil Atheists and ZZZ Giant Awake. And then also come to our Facebook group page, The Evil Atheists, and have a good time.
Sweet.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
So let's go ahead and get into some results. We have results. And Matt, you are the father.
Yes. I always wanted to have another kid.
All right, but we're actually talking about the results from this last Saturday, which some news corporations are terming Super Saturday, which is the stupidest name because it is like the smallest delegate amount to come out of any of the days that we're voting moving forward.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to
Make a story.
Make it look like Hillary won so much and Bernie's out.
They're not even, but that's the thing. They're not. It's a media blackout on Bernie Sanders. They haven't even been talking about the Democratic side. It's just been all about Trump, Cruz, Rubio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the civil war that we'll talk about here towards the end of this segment. But the results were from Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, and Maine on the Republican side. And then on the Democratic side, it was Nebraska, Kansas, and Maine's voting today, and Louisiana voted yesterday.
Yep.
So Kansas, Cruz won. He got 24 delegates to Trump's 9 to Rubio's 6. And then Trump won Kentucky, 17 to 15 for Cruz to 7 for Rubio. Rubio picked up 0 other delegates. So Rubio got crushed. In Maine, Cruz won, which is really surprising because he was behind in all the polls. And then in Louisiana, Trump won, but barely by 1 delegate. So what do you guys think? We're gonna have we have a twist. I mean, honestly,
yeah. I don't know. It looks like Trump, and that just scares me.
Cruz took some states from Trump that he shouldn't have.
Oh, Cruz did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Cruz took 2 states that he was behind in.
That scares me, too.
Yeah.
Cruz has 300 delegates total, and Trump has 382. So,
okay.
It appears that Cruz is starting to,
God,
catch him, a little bit.
Cruz, I don't know. Cruz
But
scares me
both
just
those
as
guys
much as
suck.
Trump. Yeah. Either way, it's scary.
I don't know. I think Trump is a little more terrifying because he's not predictable. I think Cruz is predictable. I think Cruz is still scary, but Trump is just completely unpredictable.
He's off his rocker. I'm sure one day he'd be like, "Oh, we're best friends with Russia," and the next day he's like, "Let's bomb them." I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea what he's doing.
But so I kind of disagree. I'm more scared of Cruz because Cruz would actually somewhat unify the most crazy of the Republican side, and the rest of the Republican Party would fall in line, even if they are not as crazy as Sean Hannity is. And then they'd be mobilized to do as much damage in the Middle East as possible and get involved in as many things that we shouldn't get involved in. We would tear up the Iraq deal for sure.
The Iran deal?
Or the Iran deal. We reinvade Syria and Iraq. I'm not sure if we'd reinvade Syria. Who knows?
But I see those things happening with Trump, though.
Yeah,
maybe.
What about? Do you think Cruz would help turn the United States more into a theocracy?
Oh, I think
because that's what scares me.
So
I think
you can't. Like, I know that we want to say he'll make it so that there's more bigotry towards atheists and towards people who are not Christian, but he can't codify any of that as law as long as the First Amendment's in place. Like, he can't make anything legally that way. So whatever, like, he's gonna try, or if he tries, he's just gonna look like a jackass.
Yeah.
But he again, the bigotry's gonna come up, but that's something completely different than the law.
Well, Trump said he doesn't want the First Amendment, basically. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah, he doesn't want people talking bad about him. And
Oh yeah, he said he'll
something.
sue when he becomes president. If anybody talks bad about him or something, he'll sue.
And he said basically the setup of the First Amendment is stupid.
Yeah.
Did you know that there was a president who tried to do that?
Oh really?
To get rid of the First Amendment?
To put censorship laws in place against talking shit on the president.
What?
Really? Who was it?
John fucking Adams.
Really?
Second president of the United States.
Really?
Yeah. They were called, I can't remember the name of the laws, but they were laws that he put in place that he had passed so that people could not talk shit on him.
And out of the founding fathers, wasn't he one of the more religious ones, correct?
he was-
Him and John Jay, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he was also,
Of course.
something else to notice, that he was the first one-term president for those reasons.
Yeah.
If you're going to go against any amendments, do not go against the first one.
Yeah.
But the one scary thing is, and this is with Cruz or with Trump, and actually I think Trump would probably not choose the same. So if Cruz gets in office and the Senate is able to do what they want to do, then Cruz is going to choose the most conservative justice available. And so if the Senate is still Republican, they're going to approve the most, like, this is the circumstance in which we could have someone far worse than Scalia. Because Scalia started to curve a little more moderately, but he was very much conservative. But we can get someone batshit crazy in there.
Yeah. I got a theory. If Trump got the nominee and went up against, let's say, Bernie, could he make Hillary Clinton his vice president?
He could, but that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be unprecedented for that to happen.
But look at Trump.
I guess
And I would not see Hillary.
I don't
going,
think.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't want to be vice president.
I don't think Hillary would go on board, but I think you do have a good point.
And
I
then
could
wh- and
see
then
Trump
what if-
doing some crazy ass shit like
and
that.
then what if he became president? He was president for like a day or two, just to say he was president, and then stepped down and give it to Hillary.
I think we're getting pretty far out there.
Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Joe. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, if that's the case.
I could see Trump doing something crazy like
I know
that.
he's giving the Clintons tons of money.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. They're buddies, man. They're friends.
So let's move to the Democratic side. And Kansas, Louisiana, Nebraska. In Kansas and Nebraska, guess who won? Drumroll, Sanders. Yeah, Sanders won.
Yes.
So what was the count on that, Joe? You said that means Sanders has won 7 states?
7
6,
states.
I
Yeah,
thought.
7 tied 2.
Well, kind of tied too. But so that means Nebraska. Sorry, let's go through it. Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Vermont. Vermont, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and Denver. So that's 7.
Yeah.
Oh, it is 7?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Bernie has 460 pledged delegates, and Hillary has 670 pledged delegates.
Yeah, and that's not too much more, at least right now, especially with how many delegates there are up for grabs to come. But I love the way most of the media portrays it. You know, they count all the super delegates already and everything, and it makes it look like Hillary has so much more than Sanders.
Yeah, when you look at the super delegate count when it's included, she has 1,121.
Yeah, and
Bernie has 481.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, but the super delegates, they don't count right now.
And they
really
can change.
don't, and they can change. It's, I don't know. And the way the media spins everything, it's ridiculous. The Young Turks were talking about it, just how they spin it, you know. Like, so Bernie Sanders won 2 states to Hillary's 1 state, but then when they talk about, they're like, oh, Bernie and Trump split delegates and stuff. And it makes it sound like he's running up against Trump or Cruz.
I wish.
They just spin everything.
Once he does, that would be awesome. Like,
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is going to destroy. But we'll get into that in the second hour.
Yeah, sorry.
So let's get off of the second section. So let's get off of politics for a second, talk about 2 other things, and then back to politics for the rest of this episode. So this is really politics heavy. But the second part, which is going to be about Hillary Clinton, if you have questions about Hillary Clinton, I would definitely suggest listening to the second segment. So
Yeah, I agree.
we have actually. I lied. We're still in politics, aren't we?
Oh yeah, yes,
God,
we are.
God damn it. So I have a segment. Do you want to introduce the clip, Matt?
Yeah, so Donald Trump was at a rally on Saturday, and he had his supporters pledge to vote for him in the upcoming Florida party primary. And the way he did it, it's just kind of weird. He had them raise their right hand, which is a normal thing, but it just gave me this little Nazi feeling.
Well, yeah, and
then he said some shit after that's
And
yeah,
everybody's hands, like, you raise your right hand. It's more like a 90-degree angle when you do it. And most of these people extended their hands out, and it looked
palm open,
open, and it looked very Hitler-esque.
And I'll interrupt the picture of us, the beautiful picture of us, to slide that picture in during this part, because it's pretty important to see and kind of get a visual for yourself. But yeah, I mean, Matt's not the only one who thinks that. That's why this is a story.
Yeah.
But let's listen to what he said in addition to it. So,
Donald J. Trump for president. Thank you. Now I know. Don't forget, you all raised your hand. You swore bad things happen if you don't live up to what you just did. Now,
That's creepy.
bad things will happen. This guy is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
well, he's a very serious joke at that. Like, there comes a point when you kind of, or there's different points where you kind of have to stop laughing and
Yes,
step
I
back.
agree.
Well, it's almost like Bush when he was president. We all laughed at him. He said stupid shit all the time. We were always laughing at him, and then it got serious, and it was like, oh fuck, maybe we should have took him serious from the get go.
Yep, and thousands of people lost their lives.
Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Fool me twice. You just can't fool me again.
Exactly. And it's okay to laugh at it now, but really there were lots of people who lost their lives in the Middle East because of actions that he took, and we're talking trillions of dollars, and there are soldiers here who will never receive the adequate health care for what sacrifices they made and during that time in Iraq.
And there's a lot of soldiers who went over there and came back physically, but not mentally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to say about this?
Just Trump is Hitler. Trump is Hitler. Trump is Hitler. Trump is Hitler.
Oh,
Trump is Hitler.
Did you guys see?
I just want that to burn into people's heads.
Did you guys see Louis C.K. sent out something just talking about don't vote for Trump? This guy's like Hitler.
He really is.
Louis C.K. wrote something. So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Sorry, I kind of spaced out there for a second.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Joe, you got the next.
Yeah, okay. So, this is the science story, everybody. This is from BBC News. Came out March 4th. The headline is Scientists Find Cancer's Achilles Heel. So scientists believe they have discovered a way to steer the immune system to kill cancers. Researchers at University College London have developed a way of finding unique markings with a tumor, its Achilles heel, allowing the body to target the disease. But the personalized method reported in Science Journal would be expensive and has not yet been tried in patients. Experts said the idea made sense, but could be more complicated in reality. Now, they've tried this before, but science has tried this before, but it didn't work out as well. But they were targeting the wrong part, basically. The problem is cancers are not made up of identical cells. They are a heavily mutated genetic mess, and samples at different sites with the tumor can look and behave very differently. They grow a bit like a tree with a core trunk, mutations, but then the mutations that branch off in all directions. It is known as cancer. Gosh, I can't read that word. heterogeneity.
Sounds about right.
Okay. The international study developed a way of discovering the trunk mutations that change antigens, the proteins that stick out from the surface of the cancer cells. And so, basically, what they're saying is they've been able to find the base of most cancer tumors and stuff, and so they can target that.
And that's where
instead of a different mutation, because there's thousands of mutations when it comes to cancer.
Yeah, and one of the things, and I've heard a bit about this, because this is it. This might be
This
science,
could be a cure.
the cure for cancer. But the problem is lots of cancers have lots of different forms. Every cancer is semi-unique. It's manipulating every person's genetic information, so it's kind of unique to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But they can get it down to enough types that they can target it. So first off, they need a lot more money. They need a lot more research. They're going to be using studies from hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to try and get every type of cancer documented so that they can target any cancer.
This is awesome. Cancer affects so many people, and I'm sure everybody in this room and everybody listening knows somebody who has died from cancer, has had cancer, or whatever. And I just think this is awesome, and it honestly makes me happy and get excited, and I hope they can get the funding and keep going and figure this out and fuck cancer.
Well, I like to donate to cancer research. I think that's a good thing to do. Donate to anything that you have passion for. My girlfriend recently had cancer removed from her, and she has to go back in. She's got a doctor's appointment on the 18th to see if it's come back. And hopefully it's still in remission. But if it does come back, then they might start talking chemo and all that stuff.
Yeah, and when Matt said he's really excited, you guys should see him. He's super excited.
He's way excited and stuff. But cancer's ridiculous. It affects
bad.
so many people. Yeah. And, if we can get a cure for it, let's do it.
Yep. Yeah, it's...
But time it's going to take some time. So
yes,
but it's something worth following. And maybe 10 years from now, maybe by the time we're in our golden ages, we'll have the cure for cancer.
Well, and even if we're dead and gone, but this research leads to the cure, I still think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hope they can figure it out quick, because I've had cancer once.
Yeah.
And then I had precancerous cells again. So
yeah.
Go science.
Go science. Fuck cancer. Really, true. I fucking hate cancer. I hate hearing about it.
Okay, so unless there's anything else, or if you guys want to say, fuck cancer 10 more times.
I want to say fuck cancer, Trump is Hitler. Fuck cancer, Trump is Hitler.
Okay. So now we're back into politics. We had a one-story break.
Yeah, so.
And later on, after this election cycle, and maybe even if Hillary wins the nomination, we might back away from talking about politics too much, because we're not supporters of her, and you'll find that out in the next segment, how and why we're not.
Yeah, we're a secular podcast, but we've been talking so much about politics lately, and of course we feel so passionately about politics. And if any of you listeners are getting sick of it, just let you know, we'll be touching more secular stories.
Yeah, and philosophy
and
stuff.
philosophy.
I was about to say that Josh and I will be debating philosophy one of these days.
Yeah, on one of the second stories. Because
what, objective morality?
Yeah.
Yes. It's just an argument we've been having for a year.
It's true. Every time these two get together, they fucking argue about objective morality, and it just drives me nuts. I follow along, but at some point it's like, okay, I gotta go take care of kids.
Hashtag team subjective.
Hashtag it gets complicated.
It does get complicated, but it's worth the dialogue is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Civil War, guys.
Yeah, we have full-blown Civil War. So kind of to introduce the idea, and this is something that we've talked about earlier, with Trump threatening to run as an independent, is that threat has been looming, and the Republican Party has been doing what they can to cater to Trump, to not piss him off, because they figured that Trump would implode. As a matter of fact, Trump has not imploded and
He's
still leads.
exploded.
Yeah, all over the Republican Party.
All over their face.
with his small hands.
But he's not going away. They're realizing this, and they can't. And there are many people in the Republican Party who can't bear the idea of him winning.
Is that why Mitt Romney came out and?
Yeah. So we're gonna get into more depth on that.
Okay.
So we fast forward to, I guess Mitt Romney, we'll get into that now. Okay, so, what led up to Mitt Romney is that there's a group of the Republicans who cannot bear the idea of having Trump as their nominee. But the problem is their boy Rubio is not doing good, and now they're almost to the point where if Rubio has any chance of becoming president, he's essentially done. Like, really, if this was any other candidate besides Donald Trump, the race would be over.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it
Rubio has 125 delegates to Trump's 391.
Well, yeah, and it's true. If any other GOP candidate was sitting in Trump's position, they'd be calling it.
Yeah, they'd be trying to put pressure to get everybody else to drop so they can have the one party going into it.
Yeah.
And this might lead to a brokered convention, and this might be planned. And I was wrong about what's his name?
Ben Carson.
Yeah, Ben Carson. Oh well, but Kasich and Rubio are pretty much the traditional Republican Party candidates. Cruz is a bit out there; he's on the far right, and Trump's just a loose cannon. Trump is not beholden to anybody yet. He will be taking donor money before the end. This is all said and done.
Especially if he goes up against Bernie.
But if there's a brokered convention, that's going to be interesting because that has not really ever happened in modern history.
Yeah, I was starting to read up on it, and I didn't quite understand what a brokered convention is. Could you explain, please?
Yeah, so delegates are all represented by people. So even though pledged delegates have to vote the way they're elected to or voted to vote, they meet up in a conference, in a convention. And then they have what is essentially a hung electorate right now. If they don't get to 1,239 votes, and then they meet again and they can select anybody, whether running or not.
Really? So it's
Even
like
though-
our it's like the Democratic superdelegates.
But it's stranger than that.
It's just a way they can get around the popular vote.
Yes.
And stop grassroots movement like the DNC
Yes.
has been trying to do with Sanders.
Yeah, with the superdelegates.
Okay.
So they can choose anybody. They could choose Dick Cheney, for example. They could just say,
Just
hey.
fucking pick some random guy and be like, that's our nominee.
Yeah. And that's why some people think Mitt Romney spoke, is because Mitt Romney's trying to get a brokered convention so then they can elect him. I don't think that's what's going on. I don't think that Mitt Romney wants to be president or wants to be the candidate. I think the more likely scenario is
They just don't want Trump.
Yeah, they don't want Trump. So the way they make the argument to the American people is say, hey, we're going to put Rubio and Cruz on the same ticket for president, vice president. And because they have more combined delegates, they're the ones who we're going with. We're going to combine the two and run them as one.
Okay.
But do you realize what that means, right?
That means we don't live in a democracy?
Well, that's the first thing. I guess that's a very important thing to note. The second thing to notice is that would also mean that Trump is definitely going to run as an independent. There's no way that Trump gets fucked like that and doesn't run as an independent.
Oh, dude, he would run it. He would be pissed, and he would fucking run as.
And one thing I see, so let's say this happens, and Trump runs as an independent, or even if somebody else gets the nomination somehow, and Trump runs as an independent.
Yeah, I think at this point,
I think that will benefit the Democrat Party.
And I think
Democratic Party.
At this point, if Cruz wins because of Romney and what's his name, Cheney, and who was the guy in Arizona, senator from Arizona, who almost became president?
Oh, McCain.
Yeah, McCain.
Yes.
Yeah. If Cruz wins because of that, or if Rubio makes Hail Mary win, which he won't.
Yeah.
But if Cruz wins because of that, then Trump's still going to run on his own. He's still going to run as an independent.
Which would be cool.
Yeah,
like
I
what
think
Matt
it would
just
split
said.
the
Republican vote.
Yes. Kind of like what everybody's saying might happen with Bernie or bust. So imagine if that happens, and then Hillary gets the nomination. We have Bernie or bust.
Dude, so many people would be switching over to independent. It would be crazy. Have we ever had that many people vote independently on the independent side ever?
I don't know. Probably not.
Well, I mean, we have the most. I can't speak to that, but I know that we have more independents than either political party.
Yes, registered.
Yeah. And if Bernie wasn't running on the Democrat ticket right now, I'd still be registered as an independent.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that happens, so say so the Civil War is, some people are arguing, no, we need to support Trump because if he runs as an independent, we're done. And also, if a brokered convention happens, rightfully so, they should fucking burn the Republican Party to the ground. Just like if Bernie Sanders wins the pledged delegates and he loses because of superdelegates, we need to burn DNC to the fucking ground and start all over.
Well,
completely agree.
Well, it's a revolution. It definitely is a revolution.
Yeah.
You know, because you get to a point where your government is supposed to be there for you. That's why the government is there. They're not our leaders. They are our employees. That's the point of the fucking government. For the people, by the people. That's all they are. They are supposed to be working for us. When I tell them to jump, they need to fucking jump. They don't tell me to jump.
Yeah.
You know, we're in charge of the government. They're not in charge of us. I hate calling them our leaders. They're not our fucking leaders. We are the leaders. They need to do what we want them to fucking do. And if they don't and undermine the things that we say, then they are not our fucking government. They're fucking lackeys and they're corporate fucking
oligarchy,
whores.
Man.
They're a bunch of greedy motherfuckers who's trying to take my money, telling them they're in charge of me when I'm fucking in charge.
Yes.
Not them.
And the political scientists in political philosophy absolutely agrees with you. The Constitution is a document that is the only reason the Constitution has any power is that we the people give it power, have surrendered some of our power to that document. And everybody in the government is all obliged to follow the Constitution.
Yeah.
And the following laws that come from the legislature.
And then when they start turning around and fucking doing shit for them, not listening to the majority of Americans, the majority of the people, then they're not doing their fucking jobs.
Yeah, well,
and then they need to go.
And the weird thing about it though is the DNC and the RNC are technically not constitutionally observed bodies. They're technically independent of the law. They're not a legal entity in the sense that they're like all they do is select people and nominate them. We don't ever have to go with that system. The DNC could close down tomorrow, and it wouldn't affect how politics. It would affect how politics work.
But you'd still just have Democrats running and Republicans running.
Yeah. So we're bought into the system that's fake, that's not propped up by any government, any legal. Like we don't have to have it that way. We can have it whatever way we imagine. And we've seen parties come and go in history. It's just these two have been the ones that have been around that seem like monoliths because they've been around our whole entire lives.
Yeah.
But we can stop buying into that system. And I think a lot of people have, which is why we have more independents than we have either political party.
Yeah, and I think that's also why there's been a rise in the Libertarian Party. The last election, Gary Johnson, who was running on the Libertarian ticket, got more votes than any other Libertarian in history.
And he's running again this year, and I'm sure he's getting more.
Yeah.
More votes.
And he called Trump a pussy.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm sure he got quite a bit of votes for that one.
Yeah.
So I think it's right. There's definitely a revolution going on, and I think people are realizing it. But the stronghold that the DNC and the RNC have on the media and everything else, people are just blind to it, or
and that's the thing.
They just fall into it.
It's also slipping.
But it is slipping. Yes, that's my point. The Libertarian Party, I don't necessarily agree with them, but it's rising. Independents are rising.
Well, that's
Bernie Sanders, not part of the establishment, is fucking rising.
That's the thing. If you manipulate people for so long and you just sit there and manipulate, you don't necessarily tell a bunch of lies, but you manipulate the people, eventually people are going to start catching on to what you're doing. They're like, wait a minute, I thought you said this, but we're getting this. Wait a minute, what about this? What about this? You know what? I'm in charge of you. Do this for me. Oh, you're not going to do that for me? Then what the fuck are you doing here? And people are catching on to it, and then plus we have our technology, the internet. The internet is the only reason why people are learning about Bernie Sanders. That is the only reason, and look at how far he's grown, and that's why I don't trust any politician when they come in here and they try to tell me my internet's too fast. They want to censor the internet. They want to do this. They want to do that because they want to make the internet another media fucking group, and I don't want that.
Yeah. So
Yep, completely agree.
My suggestion is turn off the fucking television set and get involved.
Yeah. Turn off the TV. Watch. There's plenty of news stations and other news organizations, smaller ones, of course, you can watch online, like the Young Turks. The Young Turks.
Secular talk.
Secular Talk. And actually, Secular Talk was on the Young Turks just the other day.
Yeah, he's part of the Young Turks.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
The Young Turks are a network as well as their own program, but yeah, I mean, and you don't need to stick with what we suggest.
Yeah. Go find something.
Just something else.
But be skeptical of what you're reading. Like, check the facts. If they don't produce the sources, be very wary of them.
Yeah. And then also find the news. If you're looking at some sort of news from somewhere, go look and see if it's owned by the 6 major news corporations. And if it is, you're probably getting fed shit.
Yeah, and there are some alt news sites that I really think are really stupid, so be wary of those.
Yeah.
You don't need to get into aliens abducting people for any of this to
Yeah.
make sense. All right, but let's wrap this half hour up, and we'll have an all-Hillary half hour next half hour or next segment where we decide or where we talk about why we do not support her, and we're going to be pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Take care.
Love you.